Hey traders, welcome back to the channel. Let's get a quick Bitcoin update. Gonna keep this like 5-10 minutes at the most. Get you guys the information you need for support and resistance here and tell you my thoughts. If you haven't watched the last video, there's a lot of information there. A lot of it's just me rambling on, but it's definitely worth your time if you haven't checked it out. But yeah, let's talk about the current price action. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I think you're going to like the analysis. It's definitely stuff you're not going to find anywhere. So that being said, guys, let's take a look. So we were looking for support and resistance. If you guys recall, right here, this was the support, and we were working off this pitchfork. If you follow me on Twitter, you've seen this chart. If you're in the group, you've seen the chart. And we had this nice trend line, right? And I don't normally do trend lines, but this one was pretty nice. It just keeps adding to the value here. So this was the change of behavior. What we were looking for here was a daily swing failure pattern here at the highs. This is something I identified for you guys on Twitter back on like the 25th of May, because this was the 24th, I think. I pulled it up. The original tweet, basically, when everybody was getting very bullish at the highs here, looking for things that weren't there. I was just letting you guys know that 39,921 is the level to get above for a change of behavior. Otherwise, we eye the POCs, which we did end up hitting, and then down we go and we just ranged more. But this was always the level. So this has been the box of resistance for Bitcoin. Now, we were looking at yearly val as well. So there's some things to consider, but it does fall within this area because it was 39,665. This is 39,260 to 39,921. All right. And so if we look at it on the daily, we did get our closure above. Let's clean this up just a little bit and get rid of this pitchfork. And you can see we've back tested it almost to the dollar here and gotten a pretty decent bounce out of it. I actually did take that bounce. And, you know, I'll probably take some profits on it if it starts coming back down because, you know, when we look at the 5-minute, for instance, coming back down into it, you know, you'd have your high, your higher low, lower high, higher low. But if this is a lower high and then it comes down and it starts forming a lower low here, there's really, you know, there's no point in holding that position as it's probably coming back down to support. And that's just some low time frame stuff, you know, very easy stuff to manage. You know, your oscillators are kind of cooked here. You can see that they're coming up into resistance, like long-term resistance here, like on the 4-hour, right? It's not a death sentence by any means. It's just one of those things to keep in mind. So this is immediate support. And I was really hoping to get a few more bits filled into this region, even though, you know, when you look at the low time frame, market structure. Now that it's put in that higher low here, it's not as attractive coming back down into it. Obviously, you want to evaluate as it comes in, but what I was looking for was this, you know, NPOC from the day before at the previous day value area low, and so that's what I was after. So I was willing to layer into it and go heavier as we got there. Now that we've already hit the level once, the level's never as strong the second time, but is what it is. I say that after it came down to this level and then came back and then launched off, right? Very nice. So support is good. This pitchfork's catching everything exactly the way it should. This is a really nice pitchfork. I'll probably continue to use it until it's invalid, but let's talk about the current price level. We've got our key levels here, right? So let's go ahead and turn off these rectangles. We don't need them anymore. And let's look at some volume data real quick here. Obviously, I've been using ATAS here for some of my range data, and you can see that we are at the range highs and we're actually above them, which we've done before, deviated. So what we're looking at is, can we get back inside this range? And if we do, will we end up down here? You know, that's the question, is will that happen? So there are a few interesting things that have happened besides the closure above the 39,921 region. You will notice we did swing fill the highs here as well. The local high right here. You can see that 40,890 is now the next area of interest, just because that is the swing failure area, and you can see a perfect back test there. So if this thing starts closing, even in my opinion, hourlies or 4 hours above this, we're going to see the pivot. And then ultimately for me, my target box for this is up here at this key level here. It's a bi-weekly level. And then there's a few other things that come in here, both Fibonacci wise, harmonic wise, for me to want to look there. All my you know, speed fans and pitch fans and my gone fans, my high time frame gone fan folder, which everybody can laugh at, but this thing pretty much caught the lows here perfectly. And leave me a comment down below and let me know if my colors are better for you guys, by the way. But yeah, caught the lows, caught all these moves. Now we're bouncing off of it. Would love to come up into this region and hit this resistance, and then take some profits and evaluate. Not saying the move is over to the upside from there, but I'd like to evaluate. And the reason it's not necessarily over once we get up there is because of the volume data. So again, let's look at our June volume here, and you can see that we're well above our June range. Bitcoin is trading bullishly above the range. So what we're looking at right now is we're going to look at May as well here. So since we've got May and June data to look at, we'd like to see this region hold, which comes in where at? You have a weekly level at 38,221. All right, so if you remember that 38,221, ironically, even in this picture where it said hold my box, Peter, that was actually that 38,221 level. So if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, you should, because I do update you guys pretty frequently. Just like right here, here's your pitchfork. That way, if you guys want to put it on your chart, you can. I give you guys all the points, show you guys some of these fans and stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking at here. So in reality, even if we come back down, in my opinion, even if we do find our way back into this range, I don't necessarily think we have to go down to these point of controls here. The $37,000 level is the point of control of the range. It would make sense to do it because your weekly pivot is here and it's untapped. That's obviously a statistical target. We know that they're going to get hit over 70% of the time, so this does become a just a target just because probabilities say that we should be hitting that. I mean, we don't have to hit the pivots, but there's a pretty good chance we do a lot of times. So, but yeah, I would be looking at this right here as a big area, this 38,221 area, basically from 38.5 down to 38 even, being an area of interest. If it doesn't bounce from there, obviously this is going to be your target. It's going to be down in this region. That does coincide with the overall range point of control as well, and that would just make sense. I'm not even going to do the fibs on it because it's just not worth it. There's just so much volume there that yeah, I mean, that would be the ideal. Honestly, it would almost be the ideal long. Come back into the range. Don't actually cycle all the way back down to the lows and then get a bounce from the middle of it where, traders are going to be hesitant to get involved, even though, you do have quite a few things there. Now, looking at our overall fibs, you do have your golden pocket coming in here at the June value area low. You'll notice 34.8 and 34.5, okay? And if we come back to our overall range again, you'll notice 34,800 is the profile value area low, with 35.2 being the TPO value area low. So the golden pocket comes in right here as well, really big area. So if this does just become a giant deviation of the range, it is what it is. And so we trade the charts, we trade what we're given at that time. Okay, so the opportunities are abundant, whether it's to the upside or downside. I think that we head up from here still and get more of a squeeze up than we do just more likely to come down. But if I'm wrong, then we'll trade either way. We have our triggers. Obviously losing $37,000 or $36,000 weekly pivot would be a big deal. You'd probably expect the bottom of the range pretty quickly at that point. So onto the higher time frame ranges. This is your yearly range. I'm not even going to turn on the VPVR because it's just not worth it. We talked about getting into the yearly range. You can see we've back tested it here. So again, 39.5 here would be a nice level to hold. That's well within our box that we talked about earlier. The key box to the upside here, right? With our key levels. Okay, so that would be what you want to see, is this box hold. If this box does hold, it just looks like a just a gradual move into the next range, and I do think that this is the next area of interest. From there, you do have the global POC at 56,344. I'll show that to you real quick. These are time-based ranges. We're not using anything right now with structure just yet. But if we were to take a look at the structural ranges just before we move on, because I'm going to try to move this out fairly quickly, you can see that we are trading above the old range here from previous market structure. You can see that we are now back above this. And so in theory, this is where we should be heading, is to the 50K mark in that region. I just think that that 45K level is a really big resistance. Now, if we're talking, so if we just set up our global range here, you know me, I like to call it that with the VPVR. This is what it does look like, all right? And so you can see that $56,344.50 is our overall point of control. We pointed that out in the last video. It's something that we're going to continue to look at as price is attempting to rally. Now, the moment that the rally is faded, it becomes irrelevant, and instead of looking for the point of control anymore, we are looking down to something like this, and we're saying, okay, is the value area low? You know, remember when we gave our box to hold right here? So this is our value area low. It's already marked off. Let's go and turn off the VPVR. We'll go down to the lower time frames and just kind of re-verify the levels that we were looking at. Remember we said we had to hold 33,386. We've got 33,582.50 as the global value area low. So from a structure standpoint, a volume standpoint, on multiple time frames, multiple frontiers, however you want to look at it, this box is super key. You go out to a daily and zoom out even more, you can see that as long as we're above this, things are constructive. Now, the moment we get acceptance back into the range, which for me is going to be, I've got my ATAS range actually all done out on this for the local range here. So you can see exactly where we're coming in at here. And so we're well above the global at that point. Over time, you know, if you study ranges, we would expect to see the point of control. Now, the global point of control is up here, and that's a ways up there, but it doesn't mean it's out of the question. It also doesn't mean that if it goes all the way to 56K, we're bullish again. If you guys recall the resistance, and if you guys follow me on Twitter, you saw me seeing this resistance a lot. This is the resistance right here. Getting above this right here is going to be super key, in my opinion. Now, one more time before we go, just talking about harmonics. I do think that we played out a shark. You know, there was a lot of options for this one to be a crab or a bat, and I initially played the bat, which panned out really well for me because the period, you know, the pattern completion zone was pretty much the same. So I got a very good entry, but I do think that the shark is more fitting. It really emphasizes, one, the X here being the start of our 3 drives pattern to the upside, and then 2, the B leg being that super crucial level at 43,017.50 from the, I believe it was the March monthly value area low. Also, it was the completion of our 5-0 into this move and the first pivot point of this overall structure. So I do think I put quite a bit of weight on this level right here. Getting above this would be something where I'd expect to see that $44,000, $45,000 level. I'd want to see the reaction off that level because, as you guys know, we talked about the yearly range at that point, and that's the range that I'm really looking for right now. Something like this, you know, coming up into this $45,000, $44,000 level, getting a back test of the value area low maybe in the cards, but then you've got your overall anchored VWAP coming in here. And if you recall, we were looking at this as the potential for a shark, which means the 5-0 is always on the table. I don't know that I would necessarily blindly trade it because, you know, it's just not smart to ever blindly trade anything, regardless of your opinion. Where is it at? There we go. And it's coming in nicely at the 50%. So this would be an area of interest for me. Now, doesn't have to really pan out that way. One thing I do want to point out is the reason that box is so important, and I like that box that I gave you guys earlier for a lot of reasons. Get rid of these TPOs. All right, clean this up just a little bit here. Is I like to do things in log scale quite a bit. You guys are aware of that. So if we go back to our fibs one more time, this will be the last thing I leave you guys with. It's already at 14 minutes. I apologize. Your Corona low to here. I'm just playing the standard fib pulls here, the 23625 box. Had you just bought into this box, you wouldn't have caught the exact low at 29,800, but you'd have been pretty well positioned. You can see there's no closures below. In theory, your next level is going to be the .133 here at 44,000. Okay, so that's another point for the box that I've been talking to you guys about, getting up into that region. That's why I've got this box here. Everything from the Gone fans I've shown you to other tools. There's other Fibonacci tools that we've looked at. I'm looking for the potential for a high time frame bat. I don't think that I'm going to get it. It's just something I'm speculating on. I was looking for this move here because I really like the confluence for resistance here, then a shallow retrace into a move into the 886. And if you guys recall, where that 886 is coming in at is your global point of control. So this would make a very nice XABCD bat into the point of control, the global point of control. So if you stuck around, there is your TA porn for the day, and then it's even coinciding really, really nicely with a very slow time frame deep crab, which is a bearish pattern. This one was not spotted by me. This was spotted by one of the guys in the group named Montage. I actually have known that guy since I was in high school, so he's coming along really nicely. So this fib time on it's actually perfect too, lining up really nicely with my B leg and Fibonacci, all kinds of resistance there. So curious to see what comes out of this little box here in that 44K region. Yeah, hopefully you guys like this kind of material. It's very analytical. I'm not trying to tell you guys what to do with your money, but I am telling you guys what I think and what I'm doing. I am longing at the moment until I see a loss of range or structure. Really want to see the local swing failure pattern taken out right here, 40,890.50. If you're bullish or you're wanting to see bullish price action, this is the most pertinent level to the upside at the moment because we are above old resistance as support. So that's what you want to see. You want to see this hold right here, and then you want to see this level taken out. And if you can do that, you target the pivot, 43,017, and then you're looking up to this box right here. All right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video. And then I guess I should show you the global POC where that's coming in at. And it is a legitimate perfect bat. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for, guys. If it pans out that way, it pans out that way. If not, I am still trading this to the upside, trying to see what we can squeeze out of her until you know, support is lost, and then we cut our trade and we look for the next possible long or short. So, all right, guys, see you later.